I'm Finley Cullen. I'm the illustrator and kind of mastermind behind Crash and Burn. We're playing through like certain sci-fi video games or just like series that we like to read or watch, but that we don't really get to see ourselves reflected in. A lot of the protagonists are the same kind of person, the same kind of straight white man kind of deal. So we wanted to take the things that we love from series that we love and expand it so that more people could see themselves reflected in them. As a reaction to sci-fi, as an agender person, was looking at like how aliens might conceive of gender and how looking at it through that lens. A more diverse range of readers can find themselves in it, and just also that it's an entertaining story.
My real name's Sabrina O'Donnell. My artist name is Sabtastic. So I'm on like Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram as Sabtastic. And yeah, my main thing is I do some fan art, I do some original stuff, a little bit of traditional, a little bit of digital. That's kind of my goal, is to just eventually have all my own things, because it started out as all fan art and that wasn't quite as gratifying to me as the original stuff. Even though it sells a little bit slower, it still means a lot more when people like the things that like just I made. I've met a bunch of artist friends kind of along the way that I absolutely adore. They inspire me a lot and I learn from them, they learn from me, and it's like a really good kind of symbiotic relationship really. It is rough because you're starting a new business, like stick with it, I guess would be my advice. And do a couple of shows, like, don't knock it on the first try, because my first time I did not make my money back. You've got to get all of this stuff like right off the get-go. Just like stick with it, try, do that first one and then see how it goes, but don't be too hard on yourself because it is like, it's pretty daunting. It's a lot of work.
My name is Diana Greenhalgh and I'm kind of a jack of all trades at this point. I used to say I'm just a comic book inker, but I'm not anymore. I ink comics, I edit comics. I do illustration for licensed properties. I work for Upper Deck as one of their artists. I've worked for film companies like 20th Century Fox. I make movie posters, and I also make props for TV shows. I had some trouble communicating with people when I was younger. I have Asperger's, so my social skills didn't develop as quickly as normal kids. I would be reading a book or drawing characters. That was how I got by with people. It's better for me now because I've been doing this for 12 years. My first con was 2005. I have my fangirl moments still. I screamed when I got the Deadpool job, doing the poster for Deadpool, and because with that one I actually never expected to get past the pitch stage. People with autism disorders typically have a focal topic. And for me, it's comics, because this is sort of in the vein of these worlds that I liked to create when I was younger.
So I'm Amber Noel, and I'm a writer on some independent comics out of here in Edmonton. So one of the ones that we've self-published is Whispering Ash, and it's kind of a first installment in an ongoing series. I think so important for people to create content that they can see themselves in. So any kind of marginalized folks, whether that be women or non-binary folks and anybody within those groups. If you're not seeing yourself in that media, then it's almost like that extra push that, hey, I really like this genre, but it's not really hitting the notes that I want it to, so what would I like to see? And it's really neat to kind of see the reactions we get from people where they're like, oh yeah, this is so neat. One of the things that makes me really happy is when people tell me, I saw you and I saw you doing comics, and so I did a comic. You could see the example in the world and have that as a motivation, and I don't know, that makes me happy. That's the thing about having ideas. It's great to have lots of ideas. Don't be precious with your ideas, because sometimes ideas are just trash and you just need to say, you know what, I don't need to pursue that. And that's okay, and that's something I've kind of had to learn over time, because you can kind of be like, oh, this is my baby and I want to include all this stuff. But really, you're not going to be able to include all that stuff, especially in a comic format. You have to be pretty purposeful in terms of what needs to actually be included to go into the story. Just pursue it. Anybody can do it. Even if you're just drawing on paper and photocopying it. I mean, there's so many different ways of making comics.
My name is Katie Niemczyk, and I did Mockingbird with Chelsea Kane, and Fates for Valiant with Jodie Hauser, and I did a Blizzard comics recently for Overwatch, and some Iron Man pages. I like to tell stories, and comics does that very good, if not the best, with the drawings. I like stories about strong women. It's most attractive for me in comics. It's like storytelling, how you can play with that. Comics like Mockingbird are inspiration for future generation of women. Like meeting people from different parts of the world and different cultures, it's great. I've had a really great time in Greece this year, and I'm having a great time here. So seeing new places is always good. Don't be afraid, because I wasn't that sure if I want to show my portfolio to Marvel, because I was like, it's too rough, it could be better. But my friend convinced me, and here I am. So don't be afraid.